Hey family, welcome back. Thank you so much for visiting. So today's 10-minute ministry is on Queen Esther and how we should emulate the same characteristics and traits that she had, so that way God can use us to put us in places to help his people. So King Xerxes, he dethroned Queen Vashti because of her disobedience. It was his counselors that suggested that he go and remove her and to go ahead and get a new queen. Mordecai is Esther's cousin, so she's an orphan. Her parents died, so he raised her as his own daughter. So when he hears that the position for a queen opened up, which is very rare, he was like, oh, we're gonna get that position. He also knows that since they are Jews in a foreign land, even though they've been there now for 100 years, the Jewish people, and some of them had already left to go back to Jerusalem, he still knew that we needed somebody in position to protect our people just in case something arises in the future. So Esther agrees, and she stands before the king with all the most beautiful virgins in all the land. She's chosen with other women. So again, God favors his people. And so he gets her to be favored by everyone that matters. All right, everyone that matters. You've got the keeper of the women. His name is Haggai, and he favors her immediately. He knew that there was something special about her, but they do not know that she is a Jew. She kept that to herself and waited for a good time to say that. She waited for the right time to be able to disclose that she's a Jew. So she kept quiet about that. And sometimes for us, yes, we are always to tell people that we are believers of God, but sometimes we may come off a little strong. And so we need to read the room and read the people and be careful of how we approach people. So Haggai, he favors her, and so he gives her 7 maids to take care of her. And then he places her in a completely different place from all the other concubines that were chosen. And it's called a harem. It's an area where only concubines live. And there's 2 houses. One for the concubines that are virgins still and has not been with the king. And the second one is for those who've already been with the king. Now they stay there and they live there. And they wait until the king calls them, if he remembers them, and if they were memorable for him to call back. If not, then that's just where they live. The process to be with the king takes a whole year. 6 months to go through a purification process with the oil myrrh. So they're bathed in it, but it helps to cleanse them, and also it's for its aromatic properties so that they smell really good. Then the next 6 months is just for beauty, cosmetics, and how to get themselves to look the best and to be presentable for when they meet the king. All the girls get to be with the king, and then now they all move into the second house. So when it's Queen Esther's turn, she's the last one, and he loves her immediately, favors her, and he places the crown on her, and she's now the new queen. Mordecai works for the king, and he happens to be at the king's gate when he hears 2 other people planning the assassination of King Xerxes. So he tells Queen Esther, and Esther tells the king, and the king has those 2 hung. But for some weird reason, Mordecai is not rewarded for that. And remember, God plans everything. So a wicked man named Haman actually gets, I don't know if he gets the credit, but he got promoted for some reason. And so now he's second in command over all the guards, servants, and even above the princess. And so what happens is then people bow down to him. But Mordecai remembers that even though they're living in Persia, he still remembers who he is. They might not praise my God, but I still praise my God. And so he knows we do not bow to anybody but God, because bowing down is idolatry. So Haman realizes, how come this man's not bowing down to me? And they tell him, oh, he's a Jew. Then he finds out he's not just a regular Jew, but he's a Jew from the Benjamin bloodline. And there is beef between Haman's people because he's an Amalekite. Now that takes us back to 500 years prior to King Saul, the first king of the Israelites. And one day he was commanded to kill all the Amalekites, men, women, and children, and even all the animals. He said, don't even spare the animals. But what does Saul do? He kills everybody, but he saves the king, and he plucks out the best animals. Samuel is so angry that he disobeyed God. And he said, why didn't you kill the animals? And he said, I was going to bring them to sacrifice. And Samuel says, it is better to obey than to sacrifice. So he goes and kills the king Agag. But obviously, Saul didn't kill everybody, because how come Haman's here, and Haman is an Amalekite? Amalekites hate Israelites. Why? Because Amalekites came from Amalek. Amalek came from Esau. Esau is a twin brother to Jacob. Jacob stole his birthright when he tricked Isaac into thinking that he was Esau. And so Isaac gave Jacob all the blessings that was meant for Esau. So now look at this bad blood, 500 years of beef. So Haman finds out that he's a Benjamite, and he said, I'm going to kill him and all the Jews. He goes to the king, makes up a lie about how the Jews were really bad and how they should not be in the land. The king agrees and lets them have a proclamation to all 127 provinces that says any Jew in your land you can kill. Now remember, when the king gives a proclamation, you cannot reverse it. So Mordecai goes and tells Esther, and this is what Esther says. Esther says in Esther chapter 4, verse 16, Go gather together all of the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise. And so I will go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish. So this is her chance to claim who she is as a Jew, to use now her position as a queen to make a difference. And she's bold. She says, if I die, I die. Because the law says kill all the Jews, and she is a Jew, right? But she says, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be brave. So that night, for some weird reason, the king could not sleep. So, again, God always works in our favor. The king couldn't sleep, so he calls his servants to go ahead and bring the book of records. So he's reading it. Then he finds out, hey, Mordecai is the one who informed us about the assassination plot. Well, what did we reward him with? And they said nothing. So by this time, Haman shows up to his house. And so he says, here, Haman, come here. What should I do for this great man? What should I do for this great man? So he's thinking of himself because he's arrogant. So he says, oh, you should put your own clothes on him and give him your best horse and parade him around the whole town for everybody to see. So the king goes, Haman, that's a great idea. I want you to do that for Mordecai. What? His nemesis? Are you kidding me? But Haman doesn't. And so now he says, it's on. I'm going to have them all killed. So Queen Esther plans a banquet that is just for the king and Haman. Haman's super arrogant about it, but he shows up. And then she calls him out in front of the king. The king goes out to his garden because he's furious. All right? Because now he also made this proclamation to have all the Jews killed. So he comes back and he has the traitor Haman hung on the same gallows that he built for Mordecai to be hung. After that, the king says, what would you like me to do? So he allowed them to go ahead and write a proclamation on his behalf and stamped his name on there that said that all the Jews in all the provinces has the right to defend themselves. Because remember, he cannot undo the proclamation. So he added to it and said that the Jews can defend themselves, which they did. And they were able to kill everyone that came after them. Mordecai became second in command over all of Persia, just like how Joseph became second in command over all of Egypt. And a Jewish woman became queen of a land that's not even hers, and all because they were faithful to God. And King Xerxes, he prospered because of Mordecai. God will bless your hands, that everything you touch will multiply if you stay faithful to God, if you obey him, and you remember who you are, even if you are among non-believers. You be the influence. Do not let them influence you, and God will take you to positions and places that you will never be able to go by yourself. Until next time, God bless. Bye-bye.